Hello my fellows, welcome. If you're new here, my name is Grace and I love plants. Thanks for joining me for this video, and if you celebrate, happy Lunar New Year to you and your family. I've been alluding to this video for quite a while now in several of my other videos, and today we're finally doing the landscaping for my new Jewel Orchid Terrarium. As I mentioned in my second to last video before this, my Jewel Orchid Terrarium, the current one, is just busting with growth and there isn't enough space in there for them to fully unfurl their new leaves, so they've kind of been stuck there for a while now. So it's high time I took them out to give them a little bit more room to grow. Okay, so I've got all my supplies here ready, including the terrarium vessels. This is one of them that I might be using today, or I might be using this one here, which is a little house terrarium. I think it's super adorable. A number of you requested that I use this one, so I might just landscape just this one today. I'm just gonna put that aside. If we have time, we might go ahead and landscape that too, but we'll see how long this video goes for. Let's go through everything that I'll be using today in this terrarium build. So this is a mini greenhouse that I got from Amazon. I'll leave links to it down below. I've also got here some pieces of driftwood that we picked up in an aquarium store. This cost $8.80 and this is $12.80 Australian dollars. And I've also got here some washed leca, so leca balls. And here I've got some horticultural charcoal. And I've also got some potting mixes and some moss, live moss to go on top of that. So I'm really excited. And here we have just an assortment of jewel orchids that I'll be picking apart. And also there are some other plants that I might be including in the terrarium as well, just to jazz it up a little. If you're interested in what they are, I did do a haul video on these guys, or an unboxing video, which I will link up in the cards above and in the description box below if you are interested in them. So without further ado, let's get started with the terrarium build. Okay, first things first, I'm going to put a layer of leca at the bottom of this, and the reason why we are using leca balls is just to help with drainage so that the water doesn't get logged in the soil and cause root rot. Rather, the water will drip down to where the leca balls are. So there we go, the layer of leca balls. Now you can use other substrates in there as well. Like I think you can use some aquatic substrates to elevate the soil and to help with drainage. So you don't necessarily need to use leca, but I am using it because I have them lying around. And also it's what I used previously for my terrarium, and that seemed to work out fine, so I'm just gonna continue to use it. Next, we have the horticultural charcoal, so I'll just layer that on top.
I use charcoal to help reduce toxin and bacterial buildup in my terrarium.
So there you have it, some charcoal just sprinkled on top. Okay, so now the third layer, we're gonna add in some potting mix. Now I've got some potting mix that I'll be using on top of that. And I'm also really keen to try out this terrarium and fern specialty mix. This is from Searles that was kindly gifted, so I'm going to be trying this out in this terrarium. So that's what the soil looks like. It's really dense and peaty, so it's gonna retain moisture really well. But because I'll be potting up some jewel orchid terrariums in there, and they are pretty much like aroids, they don't really like soil that's too fine. They prefer more chunky soil, so I'm gonna be mixing it in here. And if you're wondering what potting mix I'm using, this is basically some orchid bark, charcoal, perlite, and some coco coir in there, and also the terrarium and fern specialty mix that I just put in. So that's what it's looking like so far. Now I'm just going to put some driftwood in there. Alright, so now comes the landscaping part. I'm just going to select some jewel orchids and also some other terrarium plants and pot them around in there. I've got some red-veined Fittonia that I'll be using. How do I even get this out?
How do I get you out? Jesus. Oh man. How?
So I've rescued a couple of my jewel orchids from the previous one, and this is how big they've gotten. I mean, look at the size of that. The leaf size was kind of like this when I first got it, but in the terrarium it's doubled in size. So that's what it looks like now. So similarly, this is another hybrid jewel orchid. When I first got it, the leaf size was pretty much like this, and over the course of 6 months or so, a few months, the leaf size doubled as well. So that's what it looks like now. Absolutely stunning. And here we have my Anoectochilus Formosanus. It's growing in a really awkward growth pattern because it's kind of facing the light. The leaf size has also increased, and that's what it looks like now. And finally is this guy. You can't really see. It's Dossinia Marmorata. Because it didn't have much room to grow, the leaf pretty much is stuck in this position. It hasn't been able to unfurl successfully. So hopefully once I put it in a new home, it is able to reach its maximum potential. I kind of want to show you what it looks like in a sneak peek, but I don't want to ruin the leaf. But that's what it looks like. I'm really excited for it to unfurl. It's going to look stunning. I'm going to start potting them in here, and I'm going to bring you closer as well so you can see what I'm doing.
Then I changed my mind and decided to pot up the pink Fittonia and the button fern before the jewel orchids. If you find that your secondary terrarium plants are slightly too big for the space, you can always separate them like I'm doing here.
So that's what we have so far without the jewel orchids, and next I'm going to plant the jewel orchids in and then cover it up with some live moss.
Instead of the sphagnum moss I used in my previous terrarium build, I thought I'd try this live moss to make the terrarium more vibrant and green. There were still some gaps in between, and I didn't quite like the look of it, so I thought I'd fill it up with another Fittonia. And that's done, so time for the big reveal. I'm really happy with how this turned out. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below.
Alright, so that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the terrarium build and the new landscaping. If you did, then please do me a favor and like this video. Comment down below to let me know what you'd like to see next, and subscribe if you want to see more content from me. I post videos every week. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!